If you only look at travel photos, you will never truly understand Utah. Behind its majestic red rock canyons lies a land filled with things that are difficult to explain. One of the driest states in America is becoming one of the fastest growing economies in the country. Billion-dollar technology companies are quietly emerging, while traditional communities continue to preserve a way of life that has endured for generations. At the same time, the Great Salt Lake, the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere, is slowly disappearing. So what has inspired millions of people to build their lives in a land defined by so many limitations? To answer that question, we will explore a side of Utah that most visitors have never truly seen. Every morning, streams of people and vehicles pour into a narrow urban corridor at the foot of the Wasatch Range. Highways become packed with traffic, while residential communities stretch continuously from north to south. It is hard to believe that most of Utah's urban life is concentrated within such a small portion of the state. On a map, Utah appears to be a vast land of deserts, plateaus, and canyons extending toward the horizon. Yet most of its population lives along the Wasatch Front, an urban corridor stretching for more than 120 miles. Why have so many people settled here instead of spreading out across this enormous landscape? The answer lies in the most precious resource in this region: water. Every winter, snow blankets the Wasatch Range. When spring arrives, the snow melts into streams that flow down the mountains and sustain the valleys below. Above the streams fed by melting snow, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep continue to move steadily across the rugged slopes. Their presence is a reminder that wildlife existed here long before Utah became home to millions of people. Tens of thousands of years ago, the land where millions of people now drive to work each morning lay beneath the waters of Lake Bonneville, an enormous freshwater lake that existed near the end of the Ice Age. As the lake gradually receded, it left behind flat valleys and layers of fertile sediment, creating the natural foundation for the cities that stand here today. But Lake Bonneville also left behind something entirely different. In western Utah, the Bonneville Salt Flats spread across the landscape like a white sea of salt extending toward the horizon. After heavy rain, a thin layer of water covers the surface, transforming it into a giant mirror that reflects the sky. When the dry season returns, the ground becomes so flat, hard, and expansive that racers from around the world have traveled here for decades to pursue land speed records. Farther west, across the dry lands surrounding the Onaqui Mountains, herds of wild horses still roam freely between open grasslands and vast desert plains. Their world offers a striking contrast to the crowded highways below the Wasatch Range. Yet this same geography also creates very clear boundaries. To the east, the Wasatch Range rises like a massive natural wall. To the west lie the Great Salt Lake and vast stretches of arid land. Trapped between these two boundaries, the cities have almost nowhere to expand except north and south. Geography determined where the people of Utah would live, but it is the way they built a life together that truly makes this place different. Mornings in many Utah suburbs often begin with a familiar scene. SUVs and minivans leave driveways one after another, carrying large families to school. Neighbors stop to greet each other before starting the day, creating a sense of community that many newcomers quickly notice. Utah has long ranked among the states with the highest birth rates in the country. For many families, marriage, raising children, and maintaining close family ties remain central values, shaped in part by the long-standing influence of the LDS Church. In many neighborhoods, a ward serves not only as a place of worship, but also as a support network. When someone becomes ill or a new baby arrives, neighbors often help with meals, childcare, or other daily needs. This tradition of helping one another has created a strong sense of trust and belonging that continues to define many communities across Utah. The influence of these traditions can also be seen in symbols that have long defined the American West. Across ranches, mountain valleys, and open deserts, horses remain an important part of Utah's identity. While they are no longer essential for transportation, horseback riding continues to be a family tradition for many residents, and horses are still a familiar sight at local rodeos, community celebrations, and Pioneer Day parades. More than simply animals, they represent independence, resilience, and the pioneering spirit that helped shape the state. Another enduring symbol of Utah is the American bison. On Antelope Island, in the Great Salt Lake, one of the largest publicly managed bison herds in the United States, still roams the open grasslands. These powerful animals serve as a reminder of the untamed landscapes that once covered much of the American West, preserving a living connection between Utah's modern communities and its frontier past. This community spirit becomes especially visible every year on July 24th, when people across Utah celebrate Pioneer Day. On this day, the streets of Salt Lake City come alive with scenes from the American West as floats and horseback riders pass through the crowds. Through these celebrations, the story of the pioneers who arrived in the Salt Lake Valley in 1847 continues to be passed down to younger generations. This powerful sense of connection has helped shape Utah's distinctive identity for generations. Yet Utah today is also changing faster than ever before. If there is one place that clearly reflects how people in Utah build their lives, it is their homes. For many families here, a home has never been simply a place to rest after a long day at work. It is also a space where generations come together, children are raised, and families prepare for unexpected challenges in the future. That is why spacious homes with brick or natural stone exteriors, open yards, and basements have become a familiar sight throughout many Utah suburbs. During the winter months, when snow covers the landscape outside, the basement becomes a place where the entire family gathers, children play, and many daily activities take place. For many families, it is also where they store enough food, drinking water, and essential supplies to last for months. This practice reflects a tradition of self-reliance and emergency preparedness passed down since the pioneers first arrived in the Salt Lake Valley. But the lifestyle that once became a symbol of Utah is now facing a very different reality. The growth of the Silicon Slopes Technology Corridor has attracted engineers, professionals, and businesses from across the United States. The population is growing rapidly, while the amount of land available for development along the Wasatch Front remains limited. As a result, home prices have risen far faster than the incomes of many young families. For their parents' generation, a spacious home with a yard and basement was something many families could afford after working for a few years. But for many young people in Utah today, that dream is becoming more distant than ever. Many are being forced to postpone buying a home, settle for smaller apartments, or move farther away from urban centers in search of more affordable prices. But this is not merely a story about the housing market. It is a sign that Utah is entering a period of transformation, unlike anything it has experienced before. What caused a state once known for its peaceful pace of life and traditional communities to change so quickly? What is happening within this snow-covered valley is creating a very different way of life, where technology, work, and nature coexist in a rhythm rarely found anywhere else. If you enjoy exploring documentaries like this one, click the hype button below. to help more people discover this journey. Next, we will visit Silicon Slopes, where a technology boom worth billions of dollars is unfolding beneath the ski slopes that once hosted the Winter Olympics. It is here that a distinctive work culture is gradually rewriting the familiar rules of the modern workplace. Driving along Interstate 15 at sunrise, travelers can watch the first light paint the snow-covered peaks of the Wasatch Range before it reaches the glass buildings of Silicon Slopes. Unlike the technology districts many people imagine, Silicon Slopes lies at the foot of the Wasatch Mountains, overlooking Utah Lake, and only about 30 minutes from several world-class ski resorts. Office buildings, residential neighborhoods, and mountain trails exist side by side, making nature part of everyday life rather than a distant escape. It is not unusual for mule deer to wander through neighborhoods at dawn or quietly graze along the foothills just beyond office parks. Encounters like these remind residents that even one of America's fastest-growing technology hubs remains closely connected to the surrounding wilderness. This unique setting has attracted thousands of engineers, entrepreneurs, and technology companies, transforming Utah from a state best known for its red rock landscapes into one of the country's fastest-growing centers of innovation. Many companies here also embrace a culture that values balance between work, family, and outdoor life. For many residents, finishing the workday often means heading straight from the office to the mountains, where hiking trails and ski slopes are only a short drive away. While most Americans begin their day with a hot cup of coffee, long lines of cars form early each morning in Utah for something very different: soda. What may seem like a contradiction actually has its roots in the religious beliefs that have shaped life here for generations. Within LDS culture, avoiding coffee and certain types of tea helped create a unique market for alternative beverages. From this environment, dirty soda gradually became a cultural phenomenon in Utah.
As part of our religion, we don't drink hot drinks like coffee or tea, and so I follow that, and I...
Sodas mixed with fruit syrup, lime, and cream became a familiar morning choice. The trend grew so popular that Utah brands such as Swig expanded into numerous states across the country. But this is only one of the many unusual features found at the Utah dinner table. If dirty soda is the state's signature beverage, fry sauce is the flavor that nearly every Utah resident has grown up with. Made from a simple combination of ketchup and mayonnaise, this sauce is served at burger restaurants and French fry stands across the state. For many people in Utah, An order of French fries simply does not feel complete without fry sauce. Perhaps the most unusual symbol of Utah cuisine is not a particular dish, but a cast iron cooking pot. Utah is the only state in America to officially recognize the Dutch oven as its state cooking pot. These pots traveled with Mormon pioneers as they crossed and settled the American West, when every meal had to be prepared under extremely difficult conditions. Today, Dutch ovens are still used at many festivals and by families with strong hunting traditions. They are often used to prepare hearty stews made with beef or elk meat, preserving the memory of a self-reliant way of life that has endured for generations. The silence of a Utah winter night turns out to be the beginning of a unique daytime phenomenon. Here, nature can even influence the workday. After a major snowfall, some companies allow employees to adjust their schedules so they can head into the mountains and ski. Local residents call it Powder Day. This tradition is fueled by Utah's dry, light, powdery snow. Its remarkable quality results from a combination of cold air, high elevation, and sometimes the lake effect created by the Great Salt Lake before moisture reaches the Wasatch Range. The snow is not the only remarkable thing. The short travel time to the mountains is just as unusual. From many communities along the Wasatch Front, residents can reach famous ski resorts within 30 minutes to an hour. These include Park City, which once hosted events during the Winter Olympics. As a result, skiing under the lights after work is not considered a luxury vacation. For many people in Utah, it is simply how they end the workday. When the snow melts and summer returns, trails leading to waterfalls such as Bridal Veil Falls, mountain lakes, and canyons throughout the Wasatch region quickly fill with hikers, cyclists, and people riding stand-up paddleboards. For many Utah residents, nature is not merely a vacation destination, it is part of their weekly routine. This passion for the outdoors also follows Utah residents into the southern part of the state. What makes this region remarkable is not only the red color of its rocks, but also the way nature has created countless formations from the same layers of ancient sandstone. In Zion, these layers rise vertically into towering walls hundreds of feet high, as though someone had sliced the landscape apart with a knife. But farther along the journey in arches, the same rock has been transformed into slender arches, capable of supporting thousands of tons of stone above them. This process of natural sculpting continues in many different forms. Bryce Canyon has become a world of slender hoodoo pillars, while Canyonlands is a place where rivers have carved an entire maze of deep canyons into the plateau. It is difficult to believe that all of these landscapes were shaped from the same rocky foundation. The only difference is how wind, water, ice, and time have transformed them over millions of years. In rural Utah, water can sometimes be more valuable than land. Far from the bustling cities of the valley, life moves at a slower pace for farming families who have remained connected to the land for generations. Yet even in this seemingly peaceful landscape, every stream carries a history of ownership, competing interests, and disputes that have never truly ended. Before a single drop of water reaches the pipelines of a modern city, the right to use it may already have belonged to an agricultural family for more than a century under Utah's long-established water rights system. From above, the environmental contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. On one side are broad stretches of silvery gray sagebrush, a native plant that has adapted to the desert's dry soil and scarce rainfall. Right beside them are enormous circles of deep green alfalfa, fields kept alive by vast amounts of irrigation water. The contradiction becomes even more striking when some of that alfalfa is exported to other states or foreign countries as animal feed. In effect, Utah's scarce water is also being shipped away indirectly, carrying one of the state's most precious resources out of this arid land. As the water level of the Great Salt Lake falls to alarming lows, two very different views of this precious resource are beginning to collide. For urban residents, conserving every drop of water is essential to protecting the air quality, environment, and living conditions of millions of people. For farming families, however, historic water rights are a family legacy and the final barrier protecting their traditional way of life from the relentless expansion of urban development. This simmering conflict is pushing Utah toward a historic crossroads. What is being decided is not only the future of the Great Salt Lake, but also the price Utah may have to pay to continue growing in the decades ahead. Sometimes the most frightening threat in Utah is something people cannot see with the naked eye. Every winter, the basin-shaped landscape surrounded by towering mountain ranges traps cold air close to the ground, creating the temperature inversions for which the Wasatch Front has become well known. Pollution from vehicles, factories, and urban activity cannot rise and disperse. Instead, it becomes trapped beneath a layer of warmer air, covering cities with a toxic gray haze. On days when pollution reaches dangerous levels, many schools must limit outdoor activities to reduce health risks for students. Yet this blanket of smog is only the most visible part of a much deeper problem. The source of an even greater threat lies within the Great Salt Lake, the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere. As water levels continue to fall, the lake bed is gradually exposing vast areas of dry mud and sand containing naturally occurring arsenic that has accumulated over thousands of years. As more of the lake bed dries out, powerful winds can lift dust from the exposed surface and carry it toward communities along the Wasatch Front, where millions of people live. A lake that once sustained life could become a serious threat to the very communities that depend on it. The disappearance of the Great Salt Lake is also causing profound changes throughout its ecosystem. Billions of brine shrimp, an essential food source for many migratory bird species, are gradually losing their habitat as the salinity and ecological conditions of the lake continue to change. Along with them, millions of birds representing hundreds of migratory species are also at risk. Every year, these birds stop at the lake to feed and build up energy before continuing their long journeys across the continent. When the first link in the food chain begins to weaken, the entire ecosystem starts to lose its balance. From the air people breathe every day to the flocks of birds traveling thousands of miles across the skies of North America, their futures are now closely connected to the fate of the Great Salt Lake. Utah's future no longer depends solely on the speed of its economic growth. It also depends on whether this lake can continue sustaining life throughout the Wasatch Valley in the decades ahead. Southern Utah is a place where nature seems to have used every possible shade of red. Layers of Navajo sandstone formed from ancient sand dunes nearly 200 million years ago. Over millions of years, wind, water, and ice carved them into enormous canyons, arches, and cliffs. This extraordinary landscape has earned Utah the nickname, the Land of Red Rocks, while attracting millions of visitors from around the world each year. Yet this remarkable beauty has also created a troubling contradiction. Nowhere in Utah is this more apparent than in the gateway towns of Moab and Springdale. The rapid growth of tourism and short-term rentals has driven home prices and rents sharply upward, leaving many local residents unable to afford to live in their own hometowns. Ironically, some people who work in the tourism industry around Zion must live in more distant communities and travel long distances every day because they cannot afford housing near their workplaces. Before the sun has even risen above the red cliffs, long lines of cars are already forming outside the entrance to Zion National Park. High above the towering rock walls, herds of desert bighorn sheep calmly watch the crowds below, as if all this commotion were merely a fleeting moment in the millions of years that have shaped this land. Perhaps nowhere expresses the true meaning of home more clearly than Monument Valley. Surrounded by towering red sandstone formations that have become symbols of the American West and appeared in countless Hollywood movies, visitors can easily feel as though they have stepped onto an outdoor film set. For the Navajo people, however, this is far more than a famous landscape. It is their ancestral homeland, where Navajo communities have lived for generations, and continue to maintain a profound connection to the land today. In Utah, geology has not only created magnificent landscapes, it has also shaped the lives of people whose work can be found in almost no other place on Earth. In Utah, geology has not only created magnificent landscapes, it has also shaped the lives of people whose work can be found in almost no other place on Earth. In Utah, the distant past of our planet and the future of humanity seem to be separated by only a few hours of driving. At Dinosaur National Monument, paleontologists spend hours kneeling beside sandstone cliffs, carefully using small brushes to sweep away fine layers of dust from enormous fossilized skeletons. Every inch they uncover reveals another piece of a world that disappeared more than 100 million years ago, when dinosaurs still ruled the land that is now Utah. Not far away, in the Red Desert near Moab, another group of workers begins the day beside brilliant blue potash evaporation ponds. They operate machinery across the shimmering landscape to harvest minerals formed from the ancient sea that once covered this region. Deposits accumulated by nature over millions of years have now become essential materials for modern life. Perhaps the most unusual work of all takes place in the desert near Hanksville. Wearing bulky astronaut suits, researchers move slowly across the red terrain, testing equipment, collecting rock samples, and practicing procedures that could one day be used during future missions to Mars. The landscape resembles the red planet so closely that this area has become an important location for simulated Mars missions. Few places allow people to look in three directions through time within the same landscape. Some are uncovering the past, others are building lives in the present, still others are preparing for the future. Perhaps this is what makes Utah more than simply a place to live. It is also a place where people continue to expand the boundaries of human knowledge and exploration. Long before modern technology reached this land, indigenous communities, such as the Navajo and Ute, learned to adapt to its harsh environment and built lives rooted in a profound connection to the land. Today, even beside the natural wonders that attract millions of visitors, many indigenous communities still face poverty, limited employment opportunities, and inadequate infrastructure. Their presence reminds us that Utah's history did not begin with pioneer wagon trains entering the Salt Lake Valley. That contrast also defines modern Utah. Despite facing temperature inversion pollution, a growing water crisis, and rising housing costs, the flow of people moving here shows no sign of slowing down. They accept these trade-offs in exchange for a close community, a growing economy, and the rare luxury of having magnificent natural landscapes right outside their doors. Living in Utah is not simply about surviving between the desert and the snow-covered mountains. It is the art of maintaining a balance between family and development, tradition and change, human ambition, and the limits imposed by nature. Perhaps it is precisely this delicate balance that continues to inspire millions of people to call Utah home.